All right, welcome back, everybody, to Cool's interviews. This one's really exciting for us. It's our first interview with an athlete and our first one with a pro wrestler, so that's pretty exciting for us. And I will turn it over to Lola, the adventurer, now.
Hi, hello everyone.
So tell us, when did you first kind of get the wrestling bug? Was it a match, or um, was it something friends kind of introduced you to? Like, how did you kind of get down this path?
So I first started watching when I was, I don't know, maybe like 5, 6 year olds with my dad. Um Lucha would be on all the time, which I thought was like pretty cool. And then I actually remember one episode of WWE with the whole like Eddie and Ray segment with Dominic, and I thought that was like really cool. um, and then my dad actually went to prison for a while, but I I don't know, like I've always liked watching that, but I growing up I didn't know like what show it was, or what channel or anything like that. But one day, it was a Sunday morning, Telemundo was playing Raw, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I remember when I used to watch this when I was younger, and I loved it." And it was Matt Hardy versus Randy Orton, and um, I remember like on the corner it said like www.com, and so I went on the website and like just looked at the schedule of when it was going to be on, and I was hooked. I think I was about like 13 when I discovered it again. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember growing up watching like old WWF back in the day with my dad, and I think my first one was either the Mankind Undertaker Boiler Room match or their Buried Alive match.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I like as a kid, I was like, "Oh, they just killed that guy."
Yeah.
Like it was great. So when did you start like training to be a wrestler? Like, was like what age did you start doing that at?
Yeah, so I actually started when I was 16 at UCW Zero in Utah. And at the time Martin Casals was on Tough Enough. And he had come from that school from UCW Zero. And so when he got eliminated, he went back. And so I was able to work with him for a little bit. And of course, all the other wrestlers there. But my mom, she got really uncomfortable with, me being like, it was me and then another like 23-year-old girl, but I was the youngest. So she didn't like that. So I was only did that for 8 months. And then 7 years later, I discovered another school, so DCW, also in Utah. And I remember, like, well, throughout those 7 years, I was wanting to go back to wrestling, but I was kind of like, I don't know if I should do it. I was a little hesitant, but then when I saw that there was a new school opening up and there was a tryout, I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll take the bump again and let's just see how it goes. And well, I'm still taking bumps. So
So it worked out, right?
yeah, for sure.
Well, for viewers that maybe haven't been around a wrestling ring, like really up close, tell them, I guess, what a wrestling ring feels like to like fall on.
I don't really know what to describe it. I mean, like on the very bottom, it's metal, and then you have wood, and then some sort of cushion. But that's if that cushion or that mat is thick enough. If not, then it feels like you're just bumping on wood. So it depends on the ring.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've been lucky enough to kind of get up close with some rings, and it's different because I think a lot of people think it's just like a big trampoline, and it's vastly different.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, so you started taking the bumps, as you say. Where did you kind of get like your first big break after that?
Yeah, after that, I kind of started uh coming to Colorado, and they have like their huge show, milestone, and so I was invited to kind of be in their little Royal Rumble that they have, not Royal Rumble, but Rumble, that they have, and so I it was really fun, and then I just consistently started coming to Colorado, and now I'm part of Rocky Mountain Pro. I've been on their shows weekly, um, and yeah, I mean, I've gone other places too. I did a show in Alaska, so that was really cool. But yeah, I think like my second year in, I was really starting to get more bookings for sure.
Yeah, Rocky Mountain Pros actually, I think how I came across you, because my buddy Alex from work, where we talk wrestling, and he moved out from Georgia. So out in Georgia, they have a lot of like local wrestling shows, and he asked me, and I'm like, I think we have some, but I don't know the names. And he came across Rocky Mountain Pro, and I was going through the roster, and I saw you, and started watching some shows. And I was, oh, we gotta see if she'll come on. So thank you for joining. This is awesome and
Yeah,
appreciative of it.
thank you for inviting me. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
So tell us a little bit. I mean, you talk about travel. How like what goes into that? Like, how's life on the road? I guess.
It depends. It's exciting seeing new places. I love traveling in general. Um, so when I go traveling for wrestling, sometimes I don't get to see the city as much, and so I honestly get really bummed about that because I like to explore. um, and but I love meeting new people, and seeing new faces, and I absolutely love children, and so I love like when they get excited, or they think I'm like the real Dora. So yeah, so that's that's the upside, but I mean the downside is, of course, like the long drives, or um going to one place and then coming back that same day. And then the next day you're just sleeping all day. You don't want to do anything. And I like keeping busy, so when I do that, I just feel like I just wasted a day, but clearly I needed to rest.
Yeah, no, we can relate to that. We do quite a few long trips a year. I think right now Roswell's like a yearly thing, so at least like 9 hours. Unless you take the wrong route, then it's like 10. So do
Yeah.
not go through Vaughn. If anyone says go through Vaughn, say no. Say I'm going
Duh.
through Fort Sumner.
Go through Ron. It's the best.
Yeah, so obviously your I guess we'll call what gimmick, right? With Lola the adventurer is Dora the Explorer. Sorry, I'm getting like all
You're good.
combobulated. But based off that, and I love that. Like I remember growing up, and there's all these different, just awesome characters, and now tons of great technical wrestlers, but they all kind of blend together. And
Yeah.
so you stand out. Like, what kind of got you down that path?
It's funny because when I first started training, a few of my trainers would call me Laura. I don't know why, but they would just call me Laura. Um, and then a few of them said that I looked like Dora. Growing up, a few of my family and friends would say I looked like Dora, because I would have bangs sometimes. This is probably the longest time I've had bangs in my whole life. It was actually like a seminar that I was having with Yaden, so the owner of Rocky Mountain Pro, and uh, and so my coaches like jokingly like we're already like, oh, you should try to cut a promo as Dora. And so it was time to cut promos, and so I did it, and everyone loved it. They loved it. And so they're like, just try it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And well, I've been stuck with it, I guess you can say. Not really, but yeah, it's been a while. And I've kind of now evolved to kind of make it my own. So now I'm not Dora the explorer, but I'm Lola the adventurer.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. It sticks out, and like I think we need more of those characters in wrestling. It's just what makes it fun. And when you first started doing it, like what was the reaction from the crowd, I guess, like as far as like kids or like adults, like how did they take it?
Yeah, I mean, everyone had a really good reaction to it. You have those like occasional like what is this? But for the most part, especially when there's a lot of children around, like they would get so excited. And I actually used to sell kid size shirts, and so that would always sell out. And I had like coloring books too, and so that would that would always sell out too. So, yeah, everyone's reaction was like, "What?" And I actually had a fan. His username I think was like biscuits and gravy, something like that on TikTok, and he would always put up clips about me, and I guess one of them started trending, and I didn't know, and there was a few people that I knew that were my friends, but they didn't know I was a wrestler, and they were like, "Wait, are you?" They're like, "Were you that girl in the TikTok video?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me." I'm like, "Wait, what?" So that was a really cool moment. But because of him is why I got a TikTok also.
So you were mentioning friends. How are your friends and family? How do they like take the wrestling? Were you kind of like shy to share it to your friends? Like I know me and Sam do YouTube and stuff, so sometimes I don't always like lead off to my friends and family that I do it, but like how are you with that?
Yeah, I mean, my family, they knew I loved wrestling. My room was like covered with like posters and like had a bunch of magazines and stuff. They thought it was just a phase that I was just gonna get over it, but clearly it wasn't. My mom, I mean, she was still worried, not because I'm surrounded by guys anymore, but more like for me, like hitting my head or, you know, just, I don't know, maybe losing my teeth. Like, so, um, but yeah, I mean, and my grandma, she still doesn't like me doing it. She tells me I should do something else, whatever. So, um, but my brothers, and cousins and stuff that I grew up watching wrestling with them, I mean, they think it's really, really cool that I'm doing it. And then my friends, same, from high school, I that's all I talked about was wrestling. So they thought that was pretty cool. Um, but I mean, new people that I meet, that are not part of wrestling, I don't really say it flat out unless there's like a conversation that like starts happening. And I'm like, oh yeah, and by the way, you know. So, but um, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that I can do this.
Hey, I mean that's a profession I think quite a few of my generation definitely grew up wanting to do. You know, I knew me and my buddy Nathan, we watched a lot of the Attitude Era, so like Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and we'd be doing out all those like flips and spears and everything on the trampoline. So like that's so cool. You talked about cutting promos earlier. How is that like? You're in front of people. Is it different than like if you were giving a presentation at school? Like how is that different, or is it the same? Like, do you still kind of get the nervous jitters before, or have you got grown into that?
Yeah, I still definitely get nervous all the time. So I mean, when I cut a promo, I try to focus more on the camera, just so I don't really focus that. that there's people around me. Um, unless like sometimes, they say things and I react to that, but then I'm like, okay, back to back to what I was saying. Um, yeah, I think it's different than a school presentation. I think I would actually be more nervous, I think, with a school presentation because I'm not really I mean, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention much in school, and then so to present something that I didn't really pay attention or really know about, I think is more nerve-wracking. um, but it's fun, and usually listening to music calms me down or makes me more relaxed, and so in my promos, I always try to include some sort of song in them.
Going into matches, do you have one that sticks out the most, like most memorable? And do you have one that was like your most grueling, I guess?
What do you mean by grueling? Like,
Just hard or like one that maybe you don't remember as much, I guess?
um, so I would say my most memorable, or one of my favorite matches, I think it would have to be my most recent match with Lilith at the pay-per-view. Um, we just had like it was for the title, and she won. I still haven't been Loggett's champion, which is fine. I'm still working on that. But me and Lilith, we started around the same time. We have wrestled so many matches, not only Colorado, but we've wrestled so many matches outside of Colorado also, which is kind of funny. Um, so that match was really special to me. And yeah, so that one has to be one of my favorite matches for sure. I'll give it a 90% just because I didn't win. But um man, one I would say, okay, I think I kind of have like a funny one. I was wrestling a girl in Texas. Um, it was her first match, actually. And I was whipping her off, so shooting her to another rope. Um, and then she came back to give me a shoulder tackle, but it was really light. And so I didn't feel it. So I just still stayed standing. And so then she went to do it again, and I still stayed standing. And then she was just like running the ropes just back and forth, and I'm just standing there like, "What are you doing?" Um, so that's kind of yeah, a funny one. And then she was so upset like right after, and I was like, I honestly, like, I didn't feel anything. Like, you just kind of like tapped me. How are you gonna make me fall? I'm not just gonna
Right.
fall down for you. So yeah.
So what's the training regimen for you like? I mean, are you in the gym every day or is there some off days? Are you limited to certain foods and stuff like that?
Yeah, it depends on the week. So the first Friday of every month, we have a beer show at Bierstadt. Um, though that's like my favorite place to wrestle. And so I do that, and then sometimes we have shows Saturday and Sunday, and then training Monday, and then we had our shows on Tuesday, but we just had our last one this past Tuesday. So it would be a show Tuesday, and I would rest Wednesday or go to the gym on Wednesday, depending how I was feeling. And then Thursday training, and then Friday, it's either a show or traveling, or going to the gym. So yeah, my week is is pretty full. Yeah, so it just kind of depends on what's going on the weekends and just work around that.
Well, say you win the title at the big pay-per-view, how are you celebrating that?
How am I celebrating? I love to dance. I love to dance. I would love to get like a few little kids or some people in the crowd and just start dancing. 'Cause I feel like my song is very like poppy too.
Sam, do you want to jump in before I just like hijack the whole conversation?
No, you're fine. My dog's barking like crazy upstairs, so that's why I've been muted. Cause
Oh,
like he'd stop for a little bit, and then he'd just be like, "Stop!" I'm just like, "What are you doing?" um, kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
you're good.
Yeah, I really don't know too much about wrestling because I didn't really grow up with it. Like, it was more of like a hockey. I did more hockey and like played hockey.
Okay.
But
Well, while you're thinking,
yeah,
I'll
give me
ask
a
this one.
second.
So we've talked to like actors and musicians and stuff before, and sometimes they're not a huge fan of watching or listening to what they did. Do you ever go, I mean, you go back to maybe look at what you're doing, but do you like to watch like some of your film, or are you not a big fan of that?
I do. I think part of it is because I am able to learn. I think that's actually why I watch it. There are a few things that I'm just like, "Ooh, no, let's skip that. Let's fast forward. Can we edit? Cut that out, you know?" Um, but when I watch my things, it's to learn, not necessarily to be like, "Oh my gosh, that was so cool." I mean, of course, there are moments that, and then I'm really proud of those moments. Um, but yeah, so really, it's just to learn.
It's something because I played football, so I remember like just sitting at home with, watching all the tapes. So I can understand like sometimes you're like, oh, that was really good. And then other times you're like, oh man, I look like a fool. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can relate. Well, wrestling's like kind of going through, I guess, another renaissance. We kind of have these like magical times. I know back in the 90s we had it, and then like I don't know, late 2010s, I'd say it kind of started getting big and kind of back into that mainstream again. Do you keep up with a lot of the wrestling companies out there today, or I mean, I know you're busy, but do you have time to watch some of the wrestling out there?
Yeah, I like to keep up mainly with like WWE pay-per-views. I think that's what I try to watch. AEW, there's a few matches that I watch. I think it's honestly I watch mostly if I know the people. Because I think it's like really cool, that people that I know are getting opportunities. But um yeah, I mean the Rock right now is doing big things, and I feel like everyone is talking about that. So yeah, so I've been watching him a lot recently.
Right. Yeah, I know last year too, even outside of wrestling, Rock just made a big wave coming out here to Colorado to go see Dion and the Buffaloes. And it's just amazing, just like the aura around him, when he's talking and stuff. I mean, that goes into wrestling too, is just like being able to enthrall the audience. Like, have you had any moments where you've been able actually to turn the audience in your favor, or maybe they weren't so favorable before?
I think as because my character is so recognizable as Dora, I feel like it's um really, or I have an easier way of getting the fans behind me. Um Especially when there's, I don't know, when there's like another baby face. That kind of makes it hard because then they start booing them, and it's like, wait, no, but they're good too. So it actually makes it really hard, in that sense. So, but I mean, like I said, you have those occasional like fans that are just like, oh, like you suck or we don't like you, whatever. But I just say something funny and that's it.
Right. Yeah, you're always going to have a couple of those. You talked about baby faces and stuff like that. Do you, I mean, at some point, do you want to try being a heel more, or like, how does how does that work for you?
Yeah, actually right now, I am a heel, because it's been really, as I mentioned before, it's been really frustrating, that I am not the Lockets champion. I have been doing this for a while. I've been at RMP for a while, and I'm still not the Lockets champion. And um, I actually had a lawyer as my manager, Preston, to kind of like um, put me in certain matches to get me there, to get me as a number one contender. And I actually like joke around. I'm just like, I'm the longest reigning number one contender. I've been a number one contender so many times for so long, but I can never get the title. And so that's frustrating. Um, and so yeah, now I'm a heel, and it's been really fun. I've been loving it.
Well, like let's go into different types of matches. Like obviously there's singles and tag teams. Intergender matches are kind of big now.
Mhm.
Hardcore. Do you have a favorite match type?
Um, man. So I did a backpack match once at Aces Wild. Um, that was lots of fun. I'm hoping to have another one at some point. Um, but I love stipulation matches. But yeah, I would honestly love to be in a tag team. I think that's something I would love to learn. Who I would be paired up with, I don't know. I don't know, but I think it would be really, really fun if there was someone who had um, like a fun character like me, to team up. I think it'd be fun if it was a male too. So
Right. Get some chemistry going.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you've talked about like you know some of the wrestlers, so you'll watch those shows. Like, have you had any opportunities to do like dark matches for like WWE or AEW or Impact or anything like that?
No, unfortunately, I haven't. I mean, I've helped out with a TNA, but yeah, I haven't had any dark matches yet.
Yeah, right. Well, like, so obviously you want to win the title because you've talked about being the longest reigning number one contender. But what other like big goals do you have for this career that you're making?
Um, I honestly want to go internationally. My biggest one. So I'm from Peru, and there's actually a few wrestling companies in Peru. So I would definitely love to go over there. And wrestle in front of my family. That'd be really cool. Um, I also want to go to Puerto Rico, just because it's an island and I love the beach. um, so it's definitely a place I've been wanting to go wrestle to, and Canada because it's nearby. It's just here.
Right.
It's yeah.
Yeah, I've wanted to go to Canada. I've made it to Mexico, but I have not made it. We got close when we were in Seattle and we were on the cruise and I was like, let's just take the Canada cruise, but we didn't have passports. So we were like, it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, you talked about, international wrestling. What's the difference in styles? Because obviously a lot of people know like the lucha style or Japan's kind of gotten big with some thanks to like New Japan and Old Japan and stuff. What's the different styles that you've seen, and how do you incorporate that into your style?
Yeah, I mean, you have like like the grapplers who have done like amateur wrestling, and so different holds and stuff like that. I I didn't do that. So so with my opponent, so like with Adrian, she did that. And so she knows different ways to put me in holds and stuff like that. So I just need to work harder and learn more on how to get out of um, those positions and counter it. So it's affecting her and not me. um, and then also with lucha, they work uh, the right side. Um, wait, hold on. I get confused. My lefts and rights. Yeah, pretty sure it's the right side. Anyways, but they work the other side. And so I haven't wrestled people. I think I only wrestled one person that actually does lucha. Um, but that was really easy. It was a triple threat, and so didn't get confused. She didn't get confused on what side we were doing things. But even if we did, I mean, we work through that. But and also I'm smaller, so I don't really catch people, or like when they do head scissors, or like hurricanranas and stuff like that. So um yeah, so I kind of have to work around that when it comes to lucha.
Well, here's another fun one. I like asking guests, and so with wrestling, there's not as many movies, perhaps as like when we talk to musical or other guests. But there's been a lot lately. There's been the Iron Claw, Finding My Family, and stuff like that. Have you gone to watch some of these in theaters, or are you not a fan of wrestling movies?
Yeah, so I did watch the Iron Claw and also the Fighting with My Family. I like both of them. I cried. I I cried. And I think it really did show what wrestlers go through. I also watched one Cassandro about his life in Mexico. And it's crazy. It's crazy. I love watching it because I mean I can relate somewhat.
When you're watching them, do you ever catch yourself saying, "Well, that's not quite accurate to like how they got to do that move or this or that"? Like, do you find yourself kind of critiquing how the actors are wrestling at all, or are you just like fully enthralled?
No, I was impressed like with Zac Efron and all the other guys. I thought they did a really, really good job. So um and I guess Chavo was the one training them or helping them. And so I think um I mean obviously that helped having someone that was in WWE that that knows how to do things and can show them. But yeah, I thought they did a really good job.
Oh, that's good. I've wanted to see Iron Claw. We've been so busy. I haven't had the time. So it's coming out on Blu-ray soon. So I'm excited to finally watch
Okay.
it. So I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it. So that
Yeah,
gives me some hope.
for sure. Yeah, definitely watch it.
So growing up, did you have favorite wrestlers, like a handful that you like wanted to like aspire to be like?
Yeah, I it's funny. I grew up in the divas era, and so I loved that. That was my favorite thing. Now watching back, I'm like, ooh, that's a little rough. um, but they were like my. It's funny. They were kind of my role models, my like superheroes in a way. Like I loved watching Mickey James, Victoria, Michelle McCool, Melina. And then when the Bella twins came in, they were my favorite too. Um, so those are to name a few. But then DX, they were so funny. Um, Santino Marella and Santina also.
Oh yeah, for yeah when
uh,
Santino won the Royal Rumble.
yes, yeah, I loved that. I don't know. I would say like my yeah, I just love like the funny ones, like the more character ones. So yeah, but then I also enjoy like Edge and Shawn Michaels. Um, yeah, just to name a few.
Right. Yeah. No. Growing up, Edge and Christian the Hardys were probably my favorite. And one time, I think it might have been WWF's first show in Denver, or like one of their first shows in Denver in a long time. We went and saw it, and then after the show, we went to this Applebee's,
Yeah,
and it was me and my dad's friend, my buddy Nathan. It was a school night too, so we probably shouldn't have been out late.
yeah.
But the only other people in the restaurant were the Hardys, Edge and Christian, Triple H, Jericho, and Road Dogg.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we spent all night, and I have a bunch of their autographs from there. Like they were so nice, and I guess that probably has like affected who I like watching in wrestling. But have you started to get a lot of people like recognizing you outside of the ring, or are you still able to kind of go about your business without having to worry about too much of a paparazzi?
It's funny because I I mean I don't dress like Dora normally. um and so sometimes yeah, people don't recognize me, and if they do, it's because of my hair. Um but that's the only, especially when my hair was really short, when it was Dora short, then people really were able to recognize me. But now not so much. It kind of also depends where I'm at. If I'm like a wrestling show or something like that, then of course it's a much easier. But when I'm just out and about, not so much.
Kind of like Sting without his face paint, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, tell us about like Rocky Mountain Pro and the environment there. Like, is it kind of like a family behind the scenes? Like, it's a pretty good environment. Like, everyone's trying to like build each other up and stuff like that.
Yes, I would say the R&P locker room is, I think, different than a lot of locker rooms. I would say it is like a family. We're really close. And of course, like we're closer to, we everyone has like their little group, of course, and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, we're all doing it together. We're all striving to be the best and to have a great show. And and of course we have those occasional disagreements and things like that. But I love that we can always work through them, and that there's never a time where it's like, oh, you should be careful with this person, like what's going to happen if they cross, so yeah. And I think also, especially with the girls, because I know how girls can be, um that can get very catty very quickly. But I think we have a really good group of girls that, if there's an issue, we can talk about it. And if that issue is still going on, then whatever, that's their life and what they want to do. But we still keep it professional when we're there, because it is our job. That's, it's a workplace. So like, at least for me, I always try to keep it professional. And yeah, never had anything super major um with the girls. So I love that. I love that.
Outside of wrestling, what else do you enjoy? You talk about like kind of travel and seeing some of the stuff. What else would you be doing if you weren't wrestling?
Yeah. Um I love to sing. Um I don't know. It's funny. I tried out for American Idol once. I didn't make it past like the first round, which is okay. But
Hey, you did it, right?
but I did it. I did it. um yeah, and I love dancing, so I love going out with friends and um dancing or going to concerts. Yeah, I love going out and just going new places, even if it's down the block. So, and I love just trying new activities. So it'd probably be going to more places, more restaurants and stuff like that.
Well, what kind of music are you listening to right now? Like, is there any artists right now that you're really into?
A lot of Latin music. I think right now, I would say, I mean, Bad Bunny. I'm a I'm a big Bad Bunny fan, and I loved that he is also into wrestling. That was really cool. Extra points for him. Yeah, so he's one of my favorites right now.
Right. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of like because you talk about Bad Bunny and then you got who's it, Logan Paul, right? He's in WWE.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot more of I get them confused, Logan and Jake, but you see a lot more of these like non-wrestlers like I guess more other mainstream like professions filtering into wrestling. And so I always think that's really cool to see how they do. Sometimes I've seen some bad performances by some of them.
yeah.
Uh, but other times, like I've been really impressed. Like Bad Bunny was doing some good stuff, and Paul's doing good. Is there uh, is there any celebrities that you would be interested in seeing like in the ring?
Hmm. I don't really know. I guess I don't really know of many celebrities that have um like a passion for wrestling, because I think that was um what I really liked about Bad Bunny is that he really took it serious and he really trained. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe actually because Zac Efron was in the movie, maybe I would say Zac Efron.
Hmm.
I mean, he's definitely got the physique to be a wrestler. So,
Yeah.
and he puts in the work. I'm trying to think the last movie I saw him in. It might have been he did the mm, what is it? Ted Bundy. He did a Ted Bundy movie.
Okay.
And I know everyone was like, you can't put Ted or Zac Efron into that role. I'm like, he did really good. Like, he was really good. If you haven't seen it, I recommend
Yeah, no, I haven't. So I
it.
definitely will.
Yeah. Well, who's your, if you had to put a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, who would you put on it?
um I would say James, Edge, man, Shawn Michaels, Victoria, and um man, Ray. Yeah.
Yeah, Ray's been doing it for so long and he's still so good. Like
Yeah,
him and his, well, I know Dom's in Judgment Day right now, but yeah, he looks like he did back in WCW days. It's crazy.
yeah, it's so crazy.
What are some of the upcoming shows that people can maybe come see you wrestling at?
Let me see. I still need to go through my Rocky Mountain Pro schedule. I know we have a few shows coming up this Friday. Actually, got. I'll be there, and then on March 23rd, we'll be in Wyoming. I don't remember the city, but we'll be in Wyoming. um, so I'll be posting about it on my social medias. If you're not following me, it's Lola's Big Adventure. But yeah,
Yeah, make sure to go follow on Instagram. You said TikTok too?
yes, TikTok. Yep, it's Lola's Big Adventure there too.
Yeah, no, we'll have to make a venture down because where is Rocky Mountain Pro in Colorado?
It's in Englewood,
Okay.
but we're
Oh,
actually
really?
the fairgrounds in Jeffco. Um, I don't really know Colorado. Well, still, I'm just saying the names that I've heard.
Hey,
uh,
it's okay. We know where those are.
okay, perfect.
Hmm.
Where are you guys?
We're in Castle Rock, so like
Oh, I know.
30 minutes south.
Yeah. Okay.
Give
Well,
or
yeah,
take.
that would be so cool if you guys were to come by and say hi and meet you guys in person.
Yeah, for sure. We'll bring our buddy Matt too. He'd come and join us tonight. Unfortunately, he helps with kids after school, and it's his late night tonight, so
Oh,
he
okay.
was unable to join us. But yeah, we'll definitely come. You said Friday nights you have shows and stuff.
Yes, Friday is at Bierstadt. And I think we're actually going to be filming a few episodes. It's a really, really big crowd and it's free. Um, so if you want to make it to that, that'd be really amazing.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely try to get out to some shows, and I'll tell my buddy Alex because I told him I was like, yeah, we're gonna be talking to her, and he's like, no way, that's so cool. Like, because we just 100%. I think it was probably a couple days or a week before I messaged you that we found Rocky Mountain Pro, and we were all kind of watching. I guess I shouldn't say it online, not that my work watches, but we were watching at work. So
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, so some good stuff going on. And is that like D'Lo Brown, like from the Attitude Era, D'Lo Brown?
Yeah, that's D'Lo Brown.
Nice, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's great.
Josh Matthews. Does that ring a bell? Okay, yeah. Sometimes he comes down too.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one last question. Well, I guess we might be able to fit in a couple more. What are some of your favorite restaurants to hit up while you're in Colorado?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a very foodie place, which I love, and I really love boba. So anywhere, any restaurant or whatever that has boba, it's always really good. Um, and then pho, there's a lot of pho restaurants too. So I love that. I love Asian food. I really do. Um, yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of one that's like a name. I forget the names. But I mean, I like McDonald's here and there. um, but yeah, no, Denver, just Colorado in general has really, really good food.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of one of those states that has a good melting pot in a way of a lot of things. We used to have some really good Indian and Nepalese restaurants, like kind of in that Park Meadows area there.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're there anymore, but I heard there's a really good one up, I want to say in Morrison or Golden. So at some point I got to get up there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then okay, I'm not really a fan of tacos. I do like Taco Bell though.
I mean, who doesn't?
Um, when I go to taco festivals, that's when I get to try different types or like the best of the best tacos. And so that's when I eat tacos and they're so good. They're amazing.
So do we have taco festivals in Colorado or is this outside of Colorado?
Yeah, no. I we do so actually I'll be going to Houston in April 25th. Um there's a taco festival called Top Taco. Um and I usually do shows there when they're in Colorado. So it's really cool that we got invited to go to Houston for it. Um, but yeah, I think it's towards the end of summer though. And then there's other taco festivals. I don't know their names, but yeah.
No, we'll have to check that out because
Mhm.
I like Mexican food. Like it's something I can eat like every day, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. I will eat it. Like it's bad. It's unhealthy. Don't do it. But yeah, no, we love our festivals too because I think it's just a different environment of people,
Yeah.
and you're gonna meet so many cool people. We go down to Roswell yearly, and they have their big UFO festival, and it's just so much fun. Like a lot of history and food and lights and music, and it's a good time.
Oh, I didn't know there was like a UFO festival. That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Every year, and I guess I just found out because we're friends with the New Mexico Historical Society down there. I
Mm.
guess it's the weekend closest to July 4th,
Okay.
and so this year it's the 5th through 7th. But it's great. There's like they have big bands coming in and smaller bands, and then they have all these lights and events,
Light shows.
laser shows, and food trucks. It's
Oh,
great.
yeah. I love festivals. That's what I love to do in the summer is to go to festivals.
Right. Yeah, I used to go to the Greek festival here a lot because my dad's side's Greek, so we'd go to those. And I haven't been in a while. I need to get back because it's fun.
I love Greek food. So good. When is it usually?
I think it's in June. I want to say
Wow. I
if
didn't
you
even
want.
know about these festivals.
Yeah, there's a lot of festivals in Colorado. If you want good Greek food, though, go to Monaco Inn. Yeah,
Where
it's near the Inglewood area, so Inglewood, Centennial, Denver area.
uh
But it's good. Has probably the best Greek food in Colorado that I've had so far.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely need to check it out. I'm excited now.
Hey, we travel a lot, so if you need to know anywhere to go, let us know. We will tell you some of the places to head up. So,
Okay, for sure.
well, thank you again for joining us. This has been awesome. We'll have to have you back on. Maybe we'll do because we do a lot of deep dives. So
Okay.
maybe like on movies. So maybe we'll do Iron Claw or something. Have you come talk about it.
Oh, that would be so great. I would love that.
All right. Well, thank you. And again, before you end off, where can our viewers find you on the internet?
Yeah, so in Instagram it's Lola's dot big dot. um the same on TikTok, and then on Facebook, The Adventure.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. This has been a lot of fun, and this is one I was looking forward to. Like since you said yes, I was like, this is gonna be awesome because I love talking wrestling. We haven't been able to on the show yet. So thank you for taking time out of your day to stop by and say hi and talk to us a little bit about wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so sorry it took so long to respond,
Oh,
but
you're good.
thank
Yeah.
you so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries at all. Believe me, I understand it's probably busy, and I'm just happy you responded. So I get it. We have a guy who helps book some of our interviews, and sometimes we'll have like six or seven, and I'm like, I don't even know who I'm supposed to talk to now. And so thank you, and I'll make sure to put all the links in the description. So go down there and follow. And like I said, we'll make sure to stop by and watch a show or two.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
So once again, Sam and I want to say thank you to Lola for joining us today on this excellent Culz interviews, our first athlete and wrestler interview. So much appreciated, and make sure everyone here listening goes follows those pages. I made sure to put the links in the description below. And make sure, hey, if there's a show in your town or if you're in Colorado, go help support Lola and cheer her on, and hey, let's go see her win a championship. But until next time, guys, for more Culz interviews, click that link to your left. For more about us here at Culz Paranormal, click that link to your right. And don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe. And let us know,
Have you seen Lola before in person? And do you have a favorite wrestler? Tell us in the comments below.